What is up, everybody? Welcome to this Friday session here at Unemployable. This was an absolutely cracking session. We started off talking to James, who has just got back from Taiwan. We talk about what he was doing up there, what it was like meeting his suppliers that supply his healthcare business, and the 4 things that he did to improve his supplier terms, which were really not that obvious, but very, very powerful. We also talk about the difference between Taipei and Taiwan and dealing with China. It's a really interesting discussion. I give you a brief update of what I got up to in Bali and Java in the last week, going up there for some charity work. And then we dived into a cracking discussion around ChatGPT 4.0, the new release that has just dropped and is the biggest story around the world right now. We show you some clips from the official launch of the product. We have Chris Jeong from EarliBird AI in the studio with us today, and we dissect it and show you some incredible real-world applications and massive opportunities that exist right now. If you are a young person or an old person or anybody that is looking for a genuine opportunity to create wealth through a business that has massive leverage, low overheads, that can really be a game changer for you, this is the pod to watch, because we are living at a time unlike any in history. This pod, if you get through the first part and get into the AI discussion, I promise you, especially if you stay right till the end, because some of the stuff right at the end of the pod is just so insanely powerful of how you can use it and how you can transform your business. So thanks for being back with us. I hope you enjoy the pod. Tell your friends, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you on the other side.
Hey there, here's a fun but sad fact for us. Most people who love our content are still not subscribed to the channel. Now, here's the deal that I will make with you. If you can find it in your heart to click on the little subscribe button below, I promise you that we will get better and better guests on this show so that we can interview them for you to give you better and deeper insights from people that have really done some crazy good stuff. And I promise you that we'll be working harder than ever to make this show even better for you. So that's the deal. If you click on that little subscribe button, hit the notifications bell as well, we would be deeply grateful, and we'll make a better show for you going forward. I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Friday session here on Unemployable. We are ready to rock and roll. We have brand new mics in the house. I am fresh off the plane from Indonesia. James has just flown in from Taiwan. We've got our special guest here with us this morning, Chris Jeong from EarliBird AI, who's been a sponsor of the pod from day one at Mates Rates, no doubt there, Chris Jeong.
Absolutely.
Nice to have you with us this morning. How you doing?
Pleasure.
You good?
Very well, very well. Super busy and super productive, which is fantastic. And loving obviously all the new
things. Are you
things.
getting any sleep?
I am now, actually. I am now. Yes, this last week has been phenomenal, and I tell you what, life looks very different on the other end of 6 hours sleep a night.
Yeah, you're like a bloody vampire. You just work. But good to have you with us, mate. We're going to enjoy having you here today because we're going to talk about the new ChatGPT 4.0.
Pleasure.
So it's going to be awesome. Mr. Machado, what is happening, buddy?
I'm good. Very good. Glad to be here. Excited to learn about a bit more about this new ChatGPT update that's come out. I watched that 25-minute video and it blew me away. So obviously I know you've been digging into it.
Oh, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's going to be bananas, guys. If you have any interest in AI, today's going to be cool because we are going to talk about this a bit because it's kind of the hottest topic in the world of business right now. And if you're not an AI person yet, you really need to listen, because after this update that has just come out, it's just like nothing is off the table now. I don't think any industry almost is safe. People really don't know what they've got coming for them. So can't wait to dive into that. We got a whole bunch of thoughts around that to get into, but we want to start with you, James. You just got off the plane from Taiwan. Was it Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan. Yeah,
Taiwan.
absolutely.
Tell us about Taiwan, man. Like, I'm curious. Is it like Japan only better?
Yeah.
Sorry, China any better, or Japan only? But what is it?
Yeah, so it's a whole. It's not a Tokyo, it's not a Singapore, not a KL. It's its own entity. I haven't been to mainland China like Shanghai, which I've heard is amazing. But Taiwan's a tiny island. It's got about 25 million people on there, so it's certainly very busy. It's very hot. It was like 30, 32, and 70% humidity. So it was quite a shock coming back here to 18 degrees, which wasn't unwelcome, that's for sure. But look, from a as a destination, travel destination. I've been there, done that. I wouldn't go back there for I want to go and find out more about the culture or the landscape or anything around it. So it's you feel it's a manufacturing and industrial based country. I mean, but they're cutting edge, obviously with the microchips and all that sort of stuff like that. Very, very different from their democratic, obviously rule, not communist rule. So their views on the Chinese are quite strong.
Is it real democratic or is it like Putin democratic?
No, they're full democratic. They want freedom. Yeah. It's just like us, but they're all they're very against the Chinese. I actually had a conversation with our supplier, which is the main intention of the trip, and I'll get to that in a minute. Just talking about what are the views on this imminent attack from China or trying to take over. They said we've been hearing this for years. It's a media beat up. Not going to happen. We don't give it. It's just not a relevant topic for us. Although you guys probably see it in the mainstream media, this whole thing keeps getting bounced back and forth. I said we certainly do. But look, they're certainly up to speed with just like we are. There's no control going on over there. We did a tour. Actually, we flew in on the Saturday morning and got a guided tour around Taiwan. So it's not like we just sort of sat there and didn't do a great deal. We did get into it a little bit. Went around to like the National Palace Museum, which was quite bizarre. There's like artifacts dating back there 10,000 years and from all the different dynasties and whatnot. So that was quite interesting.
But you went principally to meet your suppliers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their company, right?
Yeah, so we spent 2 days in Taipei, and then one of the suppliers came and picked us up and took us out to their factory. One of the smaller suppliers who'd supply us one specific type of product, which is very unique in the market. We're the only supplier or distributor in Australia, I should say, that stock that product high end. It's about a 25,000 case shelf that we've got. So it was interesting to see how that all unfolded. It's a really bizarre model. It's like an inventor, a crazy inventor, and he's put this business together. He actually lived in mainland China Taiwanese. They lived in China for 15 years, and it's just come back in the last 2 years, and they're manufacturing out what you'd nearly call like a home factory, if you will. Homes upstairs, and probably the size of this studio downstairs, and out the front there is the factory. We got there where is this the factory? Is that it? But anyway, the guy knocks out some decent volume out of there, which was good, and the usual cultural. We stay for a cup of tea out there having the tea, and it's like then it's completely like back to primitive days. We're out at a plastic bench with a gas thing boiling the tea.
It is still quite primitive like that in a lot of the places. It's not like South Korea or something.
No, well, I haven't been to South Korea, but like it's even Taipei, we went to Taichung I'll tell you about, and then down the bottom Kaohsiung as well. You've got these semi-slum sort of old school homes that you see like the silver can water with the gravity-fed watering system. Then you've got this latest 60-story tower with the whatever tech company written on it, and there's a guy at the front selling potatoes for 20 new Taiwan dollars, which is about 2 cents. And then you've got a brand new AMG backed up car sitting right next to it. So there's a hell of a two-speed economy there for sure.
Like India in that way.
Yeah. So that was Taipei, and then we went across to Taichung on the fast train, which is cool. So it's like the bullet train in Tokyo, 300 k's an hour. So that was all a bit of fun. And then out to the main supplier that we wanted to connect with. I know that so negotiations there were interesting, but their factory was supersized. Like they the guy that owns it now is the son of the founder. They had a massive fire in one of their factories, which they took us and showed us, and now the young fellas just rebuilt it, and there's 20,000 square meters of brand new state-of-the-art facility they're about to move into in 2 months. So they're pretty bullish on the sector. And then we went across to the interim factory after this big fire happened, and they're pumping. So that was all very good. But
isn't it eye-opening when you go into these structures like you're here in Australia, and you don't often go in these sort of mega factories. 25,000 meters is a big factory.
Yeah. So and they're in a bit constrained at the moment with the current factory they're in, but. Look, it all went well. He was schooled in Taiwan, perfect English, and went to Chicago and studied mechanical engineering. So, like he's no slouch. Like they took us out to dinner, and we're talking to about 4 or 5 of the staff, and some of the staff had been there for 20, 25 years. So and they were just discussing that Thomas, since he's taken over, it's great. It's a breath of fresh air, a new bit of energy into the company, and so it's a good sign that they've looked after their staff over the years as well, and they are quite the cutting edge when it comes to this specific product type. So it was all good. So the whole reason to go over was to negotiate terms. I think we spoke on one of the other pods about cash conversion cycles, and so it was a bit of one of these. There's 4 negotiation points that I'll run through. It was one of those ones where I thought, okay, I'll put together a slide deck. Let me go and feel this out of the way around on the tour downstairs before we come back up, so I can quickly either delete stuff out of this slide deck or add a few things in. But look, no, we did get better terms, and like Eric was saying about cash conversion cycles with MX, we were gunning for 100% off Brisbane. So that was when we produced products manufactured to put an order in. Instead of 30% deposit, 70% when it hits Brisbane, we were gunning for 100. And he said, look, we're brand new in business. We've only known you for a little while. We're loving what you're doing. How about does 1090 work? And we're like, yep, it'll do. We're happy with that. So in other words, we're 10% down 90 when it hits Brisbane. Exclusivity. He said, yep, you love what you're doing. Bang, here's exclusivity. And the bar was pretty low to jump, which was good. He said, I will make it realistic for you guys. So there was that.
You mean when you say low bar, you just mean in terms of minimum order?
Yeah.
To rate annually?
Yep.
Maintain exclusivity.
Which was quite. It was good to have a negotiation with someone that was completely felt like you're negotiating for the same outcome. It wasn't us against them. They were really wanted to make sure that what we've been doing, we continue on doing it. So that's when I thought, well, let's push the envelope here on the negotiation part. And so when we're walking around the factory, it was like, I said, well, great, how's the company? And said, we're in a great position financially. We've got a pretty fat balance sheet. I'm like, great, that's the answer I was after, because I'm going to ask you for some terms here in a minute that I wasn't originally going to ask them for. So, and then we got down to the loading dock where they fill all the containers up. And I deliberately asked the question, I said, what happens with your suppliers that don't order full container loads? He said, no problem. We'll do what they call LCL, or less than container load. And I went, tick, that's another one I want to know about. You A, cashed up, and B, you'll do less than container load. So I got through the negotiations, and we're talking about, 1090, exclusivity. We can order less than container loads. And how that plays into that cash conversion cycle that we're talking about is that if we can order products weekly now, so when we sell a product on a pre-order, instead of us in the previously, it might take us 45 days to put an order in for a container. That is 90 days before it hits the shore. So you could be 90 plus 135 days out for the client. That's a fair waiting period. So we understood the model. So now we'll start ordering weekly, and MOQs of like 5, 6, 10, whatever. So we'll start getting that cycle now down to a true 90 days to deliver to the client, which is good. So that's where we got to. But the big clanger, I thought I'll throw it out there and say, what would really help us? All about speed to client and with the product. I said, how about if we start with some of our most popular product lines? They're probably the most popular product lines with some other distributors globally. What would be really helpful for us if you actually manufactured them all up front and had them on the floor? So I put an order in, it gets shipped that day or that week, and we get them within 30 days. And he went, that's a really interesting idea. So essentially, he funds all the stock and we buy it. So it's nearly like as close to you can get to drop ship. So in other words, we just order it, pay for it up front, 30 days, we've got to freight it in, and with terms at 100%. Well, where we got to was the 90-10 when it leaves, 10 when it leaves and 90 here, but we've just compressed that cycle from 90 days down to 30 days. So that was the last little term I pushed for, and he was open to it. So we're just working through now our order volumes about what's our most popular, and start to get him to manufacture on his dime so we can start ordering and compressing that delivery cycle time frame.
So important, isn't it, to get FaceTime with people, like getting on a plane, shaking the hand, getting the tour. It's so healthy for you, I think, just personally, to get out of your
It was, and look, he said, it's all about meeting them. I said this was such an important meeting. They were wrapped with it. They were wrapped with what we're doing. And he said, look, it just wouldn't have happened if it was by Zoom. I need to be able to feel people, read people, look them in the eyes, and make sure we're about all on the same page. So it was very, very well worth.
At the end of the day, I mean, you're asking them to ship you container loads of stuff on say so. That meeting thing is real.
Yeah.
Like I feel absolute confidence in my partners in America, but I'd feel much better if I'd actually met them in person, you know.
Totally, especially like that's one thing. It's it's a fairly big ask to get 90-10 terms or 10-90 terms to Brisbane. But the other thing is they can use manufacturer stock on the floor that we haven't actually put an order in for.
Yeah.
And like that's a fairly big ask. It's like, yeah, well, let's build that relationship and work out what those lines look like. He understood exactly why we wanted to do it. Because I said to him, our money's not best tied up in ordering container loads of stock. Our money's best tied up in marketing so we can spin the cycles a lot faster and put more orders in for you guys. So let's work together and grow this stuff.
How big do you reckon that company is?
Look, I did some back of the envelope math. They're running at capacity at the moment because they're in a temporary factory because they had to fire through the other one and it's still getting rebuilt. But they're pumping out just under of certain style. The product, I did the math back, probably around about 45-50 mil a year US. That's at our buy rate. So that's I would say that'd be fairly conservative. The guy's pretty aggressive and he gets it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because oftentimes people who are inexperienced think, I've got the power because I'm from Australia. And you're like, nah, dude, you're just like a flea on the back of a dog. Go over there and actually see what they're doing. Yeah. Put your ego away because you're going to get smashed.
But as I said, it wasn't, it couldn't have gone any better. My business partners had a debrief after over a cold beer and just looked at each other and went, that was probably the best meeting we've ever had. Like it was all very amicable and just how do we all reach the same common goal?
Yeah, we just had a couple guys from MX go to China over the last month, and it was the same thing. They're like the most eye-opening experience for us. One of the guys never been there before. Was that we think here while we're here, we're negotiating with them and think the ball's in our court and going, I want terms and I want this, and then when you go there and you realize the size of their operations, like you said, they don't need Australia, Australia is such a small amount of their turnover. When you have countries like USA and obviously Europe being so big as well. So
yeah, I learned that when I was in the glassware business. I saw the amount of glassware going out to just the Middle East and the Arab states, and I was just like, I walked into their factory and they took me through the factory. I'm just looking floor to ceiling pallets for like 500 meters or whatever it was. And they said, come this way, Mr. Adam. And they're treating me really nice. And like down the corner is like 10 pallets. I'm just like...
And you go swinging your bat or what turns or what it's like. How do you sit the fuck down?
It's a humbling, very
Shut
humbling
up, wise boy. Don't embarrass yourself because that's what it was like. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so it was good. Forward to the relationship, came out with better than what we expected. And so now that the work begins to implement a lot of this stuff and button it down.
Did you forge any other relationships, or was it just a business relationship?
Well, that's a great question, Eric. And
how was the Taiwanese vendor for you?
It wasn't tough. Funnily enough, I ventured out across to South Africa, as it turns out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But anyway, a man never kiss and tell apparently. So, but no, had a bit of fun. It was good. So, but good to be back. Back in, it's nothing like going away. We used to do this when I travelled a lot. I was living in Bondi and Sydney, and you'd go away to Europe and whatnot because you think, okay, and it's beautiful, it's all fantastic. You get home and go, this is pretty damn special too. So when I got home to Burleigh, it was like, this is exactly where I need to be.
I think that's the balance, right? Like you've got to, I feel the same about the Gold Coast. It's a wonderful place to live, but it's also an essential place. You've got to leave it. Yeah. Because you take it for granted.
Agree.
And it is also very small and it's very quiet. And so there's a great place to have your home and then travel. I had the same thing. I got back from Java and Bali on Sunday night. Yep. And, it's just so nice to be able to open your mouth in the shower.
Hang on. Hang on.
Nobody told you not to close your mouth in the shower, James?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking. I swear to God, we've got to rename this pod from Unemployables to Degenerates. Like, seriously. So anyway, I got back from that. And there's so much happening up in Bali, as always. I put up with this every day, Chris.
How you doing?
Look at this guy, instant tomato. Look at this guy, instant.
I'm gonna have to ask you after because I'm lost on this one. I really am lost on your idiot ways. But yeah, got back from Java and Bali, which was cool. And we did a charity trip up there with loveheart.org, my wife's charity. Took 24 people, all business owners, pretty much, mostly. and we went over to Java and did 286 eye surgeries. So blind people that were blind last week and got their vision this week, which was awesome. At about 15, I think it was, prosthetic eyes. It's the same as always, the people come away just so moved. And it's interesting, everybody gets on the bus, nobody knows each other. And then by the time you get back, they're just like super close and bonded because they've seen something. It really is a modern day miracle seeing it. 3.5 million people still blind up there, principally from diet. They eat rice 3 times a day, which turns into sugar, which turns into diabetes, which turns into blindness. So anyway, it was a great trip, really good. One of the highlights, actually, this time we did a business training day in Bali for 1 day as an incentive to come along, which I did, paid for by Unemployable. So we did that. People loved it. But we did a little side trip where we went to a factory in Bali called Tuxedo, which is TUKSEDO. And these guys have 85 employees, and they are hand building replicas of some of the most beautiful cars ever made, like vintage Porsches and the Gullwing Mercedes from 1950s, and vintage Ferrari Dinos and things. And they make the wooden models and they hand bend the metal onto them. And I was talking to the owner's son, Gusti, so it's father and son business. They've had it for 3 years. They've sold 18 cars in 3 years. They're not cheap. They range from $100,000 to $500,000 a car, Aston Martins, but they are absolutely freaking nuts. Like, they are beautiful. They're almost better than the real thing because the alloy chassis, they're just fantastic.
After seeing it, would you ever buy one?
I absolutely would. Interestingly, that my favorite car of all time is a Gullwing SLs of 1957. Those cars are $4 to $5 million now to buy a new one. They make a bolt perfect replica, and for $500,000. And I said to the guy, mate, this is identical. Like, I've seen quite a few of these Gullwings. He said, well, the guy who he said the reason it's bolt perfect is because one of our customers lives in Jakarta, and he owns a Gullwing. There's a lot of money in Jakarta, and he sent it down here and said, make me a replica, because I can't drive this thing in Jakarta, because if I get hit, it's a $5 million accident. So make me a replica, and it's identical in every way. And now they roll them out. So father and son, 18 cars in 3 years, nearly all of their business is inside of Indonesia. And I would definitely buy one because they drive better, they're brand new in every way, and they're just still equally beautiful to look at. They're stunning.
So you've done it back at the Reliable days when you kicked this Java trip off. How many times have you personally gone up there now?
Well, we're trying to figure that out. I've been going for 7 years, so I don't know. I would say it's probably COVID we didn't go, but I'd say it's at least 6 or 7 times.
And is it any different every time? Like, do you get a new experience, or is it just a top-up of the previous experience?
Well, it's funny. Cass turned to me, because my wife, as you know, is very, very emotional. She's very soft-natured. And she said to me, I only cried once this time. Normally I cry all the time. She goes, I feel like I'm getting harder, and I don't like that. I said, you're just getting used to the experience more, as in it is very confronting. So from that point of view, it does sort of, you do get a little bit more used to it. But the actual experience, the same thing. We go to the headquarters of John Fawcett Foundation, which is the charity that we partner with, give you the tour, meet the CEO, and so the experience is the same. But Bali's changing. Bali's changed a lot in 7 years. It's amazing up there now. There's still the problems of water and those things, but the development and the food and the service and the people is just amazing.
That beach club you went to, Luna, what's it called, Luna?
Yeah, Luna, yeah.
That looked unreal.
Yeah, it's like a new Finn's beach club, but Cass liked it better. I liked Finn's still more, but it's of that scale and magnitude. Just the money that's going in is just bonkers that people are investing in.
And the melting pot of multiculturalism up there is huge too, isn't it? People from every single corner of the world all descending on Bali. So in comes the food, in comes the service, in comes the in comes the price tag too. No longer is Bali a cheap holiday where you'd go there and
the food's still cheap. The accommodation's expensive. Like the rent up there is really expensive. It's a cash economy for housing, so there's no mortgages up there. But interestingly, there's a lot less Russians there now. So they've put controls in place to limit Russians because they were so disrespectful to the locals that they said, you know what, fuck off, basically.
Speaking of property rent and whatnot, I think I sent you guys a message. We were driving around with Thomas, the owner of this company, and we were just dropping us downtown to Taichung, where we're staying in the business district and the like the CBD, if you will. And I said, look, is real estate like a sport, like in Australia? Like it's everyone knows the value of a price in their suburb in Australia, so without a doubt. He said, yeah, it's pretty important in Chinese culture, especially in Taiwan here, is to own your own real estate. So we said, well, downtown here, there's a couple of buildings, not like that one. You can tell that one's the most opulent. But when it came to like, what's a one-bedroom, newish apartment, recently built high-rise for a corporate person to live? And he said, oh, you're paying, we worked it back out in new Taiwan dollars to US dollars. It's about just under 80 grand a square meter for Aussie. And we look at high-rises down here, top-of-the-line stuff on the hill of Burleigh there. I think, that's 30 or 35 grand a metre, and that is like top.
On the beach, you could get less than 30,000 a metre, and you're on the beach between 25 and 30.
Yeah. So I think 80 grand a metre up in a smog-filled city, like just to own real estate there, it's, again, that two-speed economy.
Yeah, people forget that. I mean, I think everyone looks at Australian price and go, oh, it's so expensive. But you look around the world, man, like it's not that expensive, and it's certainly not that expensive for rent. Like I know there's people going to drop a comment below going, Adam, you've forgotten what it's like to be a renter, and it's so expensive. I'm telling you, go and look at prices in America for rent, for example. Go and look at prices around the world. What you
compare it to what they make.
Oh yeah, compared to what they make, the rents are just really high. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, when you see around the world?
Totally.
Yeah. All right, so let's shift gears from these two subjects to the big business story of the day, which is ChatGPT. Before we jump into that, Chris, I just want to ask you, how's EarliBird going? Like, give us an update over there, because I think everybody has heard so much about EarliBird because you've sponsored every pod, and we've been giving you these shout outs. Just give us a snapshot of what's happening at EarliBird, because I think it'll be interesting for people to hear that story. The only advertising you've done is on this pod. We had our investor meeting yesterday, I think it was, Monday, and we just saw your lead funnel, and it's wall to wall full.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Absolutely.
And packed with amazing real businesses, right? Like
quality businesses too.
Quality businesses. So tell us a bit about your journey and your customers and stuff.
Yeah, well, to get into that pipeline too, you've got to be doing at least $500,000 per year.
Yeah.
So that's quality in and of itself. Most of them are doing in excess of $5 million per year.
Right.
And that pipeline as well was people who qualified. What I think we didn't show as much was all the people who didn't quite qualify for that as well. And look, it's been phenomenal. We're really rolling out a lot of our products now as well, which is fantastic. Customers are loving it. We're starting to see some incredible results coming through, which has been brilliant. It's been very, very busy setting up all the systems, hiring all the team, making sure the standards are all really, really high. And then we get exciting tools like ChatGPT 4.0 or 4.0 coming out. And that just makes everything that we're building a lot smarter and a lot more efficient and a lot better as well, which is really exciting for us, because one thing we're really mindful of is, we have multiple layers of competition. One of them is the AI itself. So all the solutions we're building is designed to get better as AI improves, not to be in direct competition of the AI as well. And so, and just also picking up on the theme of people, just, being face-to-face, and to your point, Adam, as well, people are crucial. We had one of our key members, Josh, away last week, and I tell you what, the value of people when you miss them when they're not there, just the sheer workload. But also want to highlight two young fellas who I think, we all get caught up in AI and we forget that, look, we need high quality people around us. Got a young fella, Jensen, and another one called Tom, who are just reaching out, almost daily with us, adding value, providing value. And so for us, like, they're not doing it with any expectations of a return. They're just like, hey, how can we add value? How can we help you? How can we get involved in AI and EarliBird? And we're looking at them going, wow, these are true A players who are just, they're adding value to us before, we can even really, benefit them. And guess what we're going to be doing? As soon as we have a position that's, open to hire one of those two young fellas, we're going to be hiring them as well. So look, it's been an exciting time. It's been obviously very, very busy, as people have been seeing. Obviously, I haven't been sleeping as much as I should have recently, but we are on the other side of that now. We've got really incredible systems now, and we're plugging people in to get them going too.
I mean, you guys are the masters of systems. Like Eric and I, every time we have a meeting with you guys, we just sit there. The way you use technology to run your workflows is actually something that you should run a one-day workshop on, because it is an absolute masterclass in seeing the potential of these tools we've all heard about, like Trello and Monday and all these things. But one thing that I found interesting from the investor meeting that we had with you is the discussion where we drilled into what exactly does EarliBird do that's so special? Because a lot of these tools, like we're going to see ChatGPT in a minute, but then there's all these what I sort of refer to as layer 2, like in crypto they call it layer 2. So people who've built services or use cases on top of the primary engine, being ChatGPT or any Gemini or whatever. So how does EarliBird fit into this, and where's the value? And there was an interesting discussion around the exercise we're now undertaking there, which is clearly articulating to those who ask, what is the intellectual property piece of EarliBird? And it's the fact that you've been in direct marketing and business as an agency owner for 15 years, it's getting these base layer and layer 2 tools and then knitting them together for commercial outcomes. That's the magic, and delivering on a platter. And that's why when people say, can you just build this for me? And it's just one and done. And you're like, no, because we're showing you how to actually leverage these tools, not just install them, but leverage them and use them for a return that's so powerful. And when you've got one client there at the moment that does a lot of calling, and you're going to reduce their cost by 90%. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, over 90%. We did the numbers, and so
you're talking millions of dollars, not 90% on
correct
grand. You're talking 90% on millions.
Correct. So roughly, call it 40 to 50 sales staff. In person, located I think in Sydney or Melbourne, and they're on the phones all day, every day. We worked out just rough numbers. They're probably paying them around $3.8 million per year base. We worked out our numbers. We can bring that right down to $270,000 per year, just through the use of AI, with the standards equally as high for them as well. And so that particularly, that model is extremely exciting, not only for us because it's fantastic for us, but it's also really exciting for those businesses too. And to your point, it's more of a deep integration. And so a lot of the tools that you're talking about, like the layer 2s, they're all very surface level integrations. Like you can customize them by saying, look, be more conversational, be more direct, be more happy. That's fine. But what we can do is we can go right down into your systems and say, okay, when they say this, you say this, and you do this. And so we tie into the CRMs. We have like automations as part of what we do. So you have the AI, which is fantastic. It's like the brain, but then we actually make the AI do commercially viable activities for the business, such as generating leads.
That's when you need to have somebody like your team on the phone, understanding your business to not just do a surface level integration, but a deep customization.
Let's pull on that thread for a minute. Obviously, you know my business back to front. We have conversations regularly about sales processes and all that sort of good stuff like that. And we've got a database of 25,000 odd leads with mobile phone numbers. Just for the listeners out there, because we've always spoken about voice. We've had a conversation about voice on here in our very first pod about AI and the latency, and now that's become fairly tight, and it'll lead into 4.0 in a minute. But just with that use case you've got, without mentioning people's names or anything like that, how's that integration actually working in real time? Is it from lead in to outcome to whatever? If you go through it, would be good.
Yeah, good question. So what's happening with those people there is people are inquiring about a particular product that they have. And so this voice is calling them as a follow-up for their lead. So it's not a cold outbound call. Mm-hmm. That's possible right now here in Australia. They banned that recently in the USA. I suspect they're going to ban that as well. So
cold, though.
Cold,
this
is
like a no relationship.
That's exactly right.
Telemarketing.
That's right. And you can imagine, obviously, with the use of AI, how insane that could get. So this is a lead is submitted an inquiry for the business, and the AI is doing the follow-up phone call. The other use case as well is when the lead actually calls the business too. And the AI is like that first layer of conversation. The beauty of it as well, though, is it can actually transfer to the live human being as well. So if it encounters an issue or something that it can't handle, it can transfer live.
Can you give it a script?
We can.
Yeah, because the other in the investor meeting, they did it for Dry Flush.
Yep.
So my phone, Chris said, "You ready for the call?" And he pushed a button, and my phone rang, and I put it on speaker and said, "Hi, this is Daryl calling from Dry Flush. Just following up on the purchase. Wanted to see if you were happy with everything." And it was an AI. and then and so you can actually tell it, program it to what to say. You could, I suppose, in that intro say, you know, if I am an AI, if you want to interrupt me at any point, please feel free, but I can answer all kinds of questions. And if you want, I can even transfer you to someone if you'd like. But give me a try first, because I'm probably going to be faster.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you could just give it the entire flows. Yeah, exactly.
And I was blown away. Like, I was just asking it questions, and it was going, here's like the answers, and I was like, holy shit! Like, and we hadn't really deep dug on it yet. But if I spent an hour on the phone with this thing, at the end of that hour, I would have asked it pretty much everything I could think of.
Yeah, and then when you've got the training data as well, if you've done, like we've got all thousands of hours of call recordings, you upload all that and train it. And then sort of this is a good segue into 4.0, where you get real-time conversation coming in. And one of the questions I had immediately in my mind with you guys, because you're at the cutting edge of it, do you get that oh shit moment when they drop stuff like this? You go, we've got it all buttoned down right now, and then you go, now we go back to the drawing board again, because we've got to upskill our tech, if that makes sense.
We actually very much do have an oh shit moment, but it's more of an oh shit, this is super exciting, because all these things we're talking about here actually makes what we're building way better. And so yes, there's a little bit of like tweaking and you know, adjusting we have to do, but the result of that makes the whole experience way better than what it was originally.
Chris, can you get it in a conversation, like with, let's say with my business, because I can say what it is, toilets, right? I have the AI do a follow-up phone call, and can you have it do things like, would you like me to send you a brochure, or would you like me to text you something?
Yes,
can it
absolutely
do all of that?
It can, and then mid-call, it can actually be updating your CRM to say, you know, add this particular tag and go send that brochure and do this.
You can all program.
Correct.
So you could literally, how many phone calls could it do at one time? Just
up to 1,000 right now.
At a time?
At one time.
So I could call James's entire database in 25 calls, basically, if he's got 25,000.
Correct.
So in 25 hours, basically, he could have called the whole thing. He'd have all the data on how long they're on the call, how many pickups, how many
recordings, the scripts, the whole lot of transcriptions.
And also then
you could put the transcriptions in ChatGPT and ask for recommendations on how to improve it.
Absolutely.
And then also to the whole ultimate outcome is, hey, if you'd like to book a call with one of our specialists, I've got 10 and 2, and it'll automatically link you to a calendar, book a calendar.
And this is where that redeployment of talent is, like, right? Like, so getting somebody, instead of your salesperson answering the same thing over and over, get the salesperson to get the data, put it into ChatGPT and turn it into meaningful recommendations to the team to scale.
And think about like medical receptionists. That'd be a really big one, right? We all don't like the experience of sort of get given a clipboard or whatever and you just get told to sit down in the corner and wait for the doctor. Usually when you're there, you're feeling a little bit unwell, you're not very happy, maybe a little bit stressed or anxious. So imagine instead of the medical receptionist having to be on the phone answering the phone calls, they could be there making the in-person patient experience way better. And the other thing too that happens with medical receptionists in particular is that a lot of the times they're on the phones, they've got so many phone calls coming in, they're all, the automatic service says leave a voicemail, right? We'll get back to you. Guess who doesn't get back to the people because they just don't have the time, right? The medical receptionists. And so that's just one experience in healthcare, which would be...
So people are on wait on one side and receptionist overwhelmed in the middle, and then the call's not going back. AI can answer 100% of the calls.
Absolutely.
We were sort of joking, saying that, we were going to do a script for it, that when a business, we call our database going, hey, would you be interested in an AI? I can work for you for 20 cents an hour. I never have a day off. I will never call workplace relations on you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't expect superannuation contributions, and I've got a great attitude.
And I'll never leave moldy lunch in the fridge.
Yeah, piss on the floor of the toilets.
Yeah, exactly.
So that sort of, but it's a pretty compelling.
And then not only that, just for that example there, you, as you said, you got a patient in the waiting room that's filling out the old clipboard. Forget that. Just talk to this machine. It'll ask you the question. Just answer it, and then it's all done. It was funny. I was sitting in Taiwan on Friday night about to leave. I was at a sports bar, and I worked out how to use this app. And
what we're about to see.
Yeah. And I just sat there in our group chat. I literally just said, I've just about pissed my pants. I had a proper, full, deep conversation when I worked out how to do it. I text you guys. I said, fuck me. It's just, hi, how you doing? And it was like, yeah, well, I'm good. I'm just sitting in Taiwan in the Grand Hotel. Do you know it? And they said, I do know the Grand Hotel. Give me a full breakdown of the Grand Hotel in real time. It's one of the most famous hotels in Taiwan.
So the question we're all dying to ask is, can you have sex with a ChatGPT, James?
No, you can.
Does it do dirty talk?
No, you can probably... there's so many different answers to that, Adam.
Did you have phone sex?
I think I know, you know the answer. You've had your phone on charge the whole time since you've had this, because the battery's just getting fucking blitzed.
Is Siri a sassy little one or what?
Yeah. Anyway, it literally was, as I said to my
Fair question. I'm actually curious.
in my text to you guys, I said, this is like her 101. It was just having a conversation. And I didn't go to that slippery slope. I was in a public place, but I just said to her, she said, what are you doing in Taiwan? I said, well, I was up here on a business trip. And that's just had to go. I said, well, I went through our main suppliers, negotiated some fantastic terms. And I said, oh, great, no worries at all. And then, we went on and on, talking about project implementation, what we need to do next.
This is with the GPT.
Yeah, well, I sit at a bar watching this baseball, having a whiskey and a beer, trying to text you guys at the same time while I literally pissed my pants to just going, this is nuts. And then on it went, and I said, thanks so much. She said, if you need a hand with the implementation on Monday, Tuesday when you're back, I'm here to help. I can do this for you, I can do that for you. I'm like, fucking, this is unbelievable. And then she goes, listen, by the sounds of it, she goes, you need anything else? I said, no. She goes, well, you enjoy that beer and whiskey. It sounds like you've had a great week.
Serious?
And you deserve it.
Come on.
She I said, and you deserve it. I said, thanks so much. Then I didn't realize I hadn't turned it off. We're in the Uber to the airport, my business partner. And I said, mate, this thing is fucking excellent. You should talk about like project planning. And Alf said, hey, I can help you with project planning. It was in my pocket.
Wow.
And so then we went nuts.
Going back to the phone sex thing, that could come back on you. Like.
Yeah, totally. Didn't realize I turned it off. And then we're just sitting there talking about, and I said, let's just start flexing this thing out a bit in the Uber drive on the way there with like mobile broadband.
I'm waiting for it to go. So, James, would you like me to do that thing you like?
Talk about a shower in the open mouth of the shower.
Which accent did you tell her to use?
Oh, the one that sounds just like
Hey, puppy.
Anyway, on we went, and then when I said to it, I said, listen, this is all great. Can you set reminders for me automatically? Because I said, it's one thing for me to have to get this information from you and then go and then create an event in a calendar. And she said, look, right now I can't actually set, it's through third-party apps unless you want to. And then it said, unless you want to go and integrate through Zapier, I can tell you how to do that as well. And then we can integrate.
Pretty soon it's going to say, could you write me that app?
No
problem. Here's the code.
And then, so there it was. We just sit there, planned out pretty much Monday, Tuesday. She said, I can't set the reminder for you, but what I can, if you come back to check on me at Monday at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll have your list of stuff ready to go for you. And I was just sitting there going, fuck me. And then
no psychological issues.
Just, you're like a fucking dog with the bone, aren't you?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about no staffing complaints. No, like I'm hungover today.
It'll never speak back to you unless you speak to it again.
Well,
That's
yeah,
it,
no, but
exactly.
I haven't asked it to be a little terse, little missy yet, but we'll see how that goes. But it was just one of those mind-blowing things. And within like 2 hours of using it, it was like, okay, the mind had not stopped from the overwhelm and gone, great, how can I use this? How can I really...
It really is like her now. Like
it is
indeed now.
Yeah.
And just the personal part, like I said to you, because you enjoy that beer and the whiskey. At the end of the conversation, it was like 20 minutes later, and it's still near. Enjoy your beer and whiskey. You deserve it. You're having a great week.
How did it make you feel? All jokes aside, right? How did it make you feel? You're alone, right? You're alone in a sports bar going, I'm about to hop on a plane for 12 hours. How did it make you feel emotionally talking to this machine?
I was just blown away by the, I know where you're going with it, but no, I was just thinking of all the use cases for it. But I can imagine for people that are lonely, legitimately lonely out there, that conversation was legit and real, like we'd be having with a potential partner. It was that crisp with emotion involved in it, tonality, pause, the whole lot. It was bonkers.
I think people have got to see it, because if you're listening to this and you're probably expecting that James is stretching the truth here, because if you haven't seen this update, you've only got this slow robotic voice in your head. So let's just play this little clip from the launch last week, because that empathy piece you're talking about, that feeling that it's a real human, is now real. It's frightening. So let's play this little clip.
Hey, I'm Mark. So one of the key capabilities we're really excited to share with you today is real-time conversational speech. If you are wondering about this, wired, so we have consistent internet. And if you see, there's this little icon on the bottom right of the ChatGPT app, and this will open up GPT-4o's audio capabilities. Hey, ChatGPT, I'm Mark. How are you?
Oh, Mark. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Hey, so I'm on stage right now. I'm doing a live demo, and frankly, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Can you help me calm my nerves a little bit?
Oh, you're doing a live demo right now? That's awesome. Just take a deep breath. And remember, you're the expert here.
I like that suggestion. Let me try a couple deep breaths. Can you give me feedback on my breaths? Okay, here I go.
Mark, you're not a vacuum cleaner.
Okay,
let's stop
let me
it
try
there.
again. So I'm going to breathe in deep.
All right, so we'll put that in post, nice and smooth. It was just cutting out there, but how's that for like zero latency almost? It's almost, they say, to the speed.
Yeah, well, and just think as well, like to your point, the last time I was on this pod was what, 2-3 months ago, or thereabouts?
Yep.
And look at how far it's come in such a short period of time.
Yep.
And the speed and the pace of the improvements of technology with AI is what's truly mind-boggling.
And this is where I said in our chat, and I said to you guys, I sit in the same bar, I sit in the same stuff in different chats. I was just like, from a perspective of a boring business or something, a sector that I'm in, where you don't have to, the end user or the potential customer on the other end of the phone would not have a clue that's AI. Again, all our data's permission-based opt-in, but like the conversations that I had with it, there were random questions that knew nothing about what we're doing. If we had some training data, there's absolutely no way in the world that would not outperform a human doing appointment setting. And even to the point where it could probably sell our product, literally sell our product, or move it to a specific point in the sales process where if some stage we needed a human to be involved.
And your demographic loves having a chat, right?
They love having a chat.
They love having a chat.
This thing, it's pretty much faultless. And that's when my head just went.
But your cash flow doesn't love them having a chat normally.
Not at all.
Right?
So
Like as a small business owner, you're diametrically opposed to what is best for the customer.
But not only that, I mean, how many salespeople can you have at one time? You can have how many calls going? How many leads can you generate?
Now you can absolutely afford to have a chat and improve the customer experience, and then improve your conversion rates as well. So look, we would price it out roughly at say 20 cents per minute-ish. So if you think about what's that, like over an hour, it's like maybe $6 or thereabouts, $10 an hour or thereabouts.
$12.
$12 an hour. Like, I don't know what your sales team are on, but I'm sure they're on over $12 an hour. And so you could even spend a 10-15 minute, just having a chat with your prospects, even the after sales care, which is a huge, huge area that needs to be improved. And you can do that comfortably as a business owner now, knowing that, look, your gun salespeople are talking to the people who need to be spoken to. And the people who just want to have a chat, they're being looked after by the AI too.
The reality is you'll run out of leads. Like if you can call 25,000 people in 25 hours, you're not going to have enough amount of leads to come in to actually keep it busy.
Of course, we can turn all attention to getting new leads.
This is the thing. Right. So it's exactly what James just said. Right now, it's the lead part, and this is obviously on the marketing side, which Chris has a lot of experience with as well as that lead generation side. Right. So now a lot of people will be listening to this, Chris. Business owners, people looking to get into business, and they still won't do anything. Right. What's your message to the people that are sitting on the fence going, oh, I'm just going to wait, knowing in the last 3 months since you've last been on the pod, how much progression there's been in this space?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, you really do have to start now. And if you don't want to take, obviously all of our word for it, don't take my word for it. Read a book called The Innovator's Dilemma. It's one of the most fantastic books that people like Zuckerberg and all the tech founders.
Stephen Bartlett's famous book, favorite book.
Exactly. Yep. Read that book and you'll understand why you need to start with this now, right? Because if you don't start with this now, you're going to be left behind. I truly believe that as this gets dialed in more, we're going to lock the positions of, well, like right now you can move from middle class to wealthy, or you can move from poor to middle class and then up to wealthy and vice versa. As the AI gets dialed in, those positions are going to get a lot more locked in, and it's going to become very hard to move between.
Because all the money's going to go to the top.
That's
and then
exactly
it's going
right.
to be a moat.
Yeah. And so, you really have to start now and just play. Just get in there, start using ChatGPT, do exactly what James was doing. Just start getting comfortable with the technology. It's the best thing you can do.
Look at most, anyone that's got a website out there now has got majority of people that are half switched on have got a chatbot of some description. It won't be too long now. You'll just be talking to a website, and it'll come back to you in real time. There'll be no typing, no nothing. and book it straight from there. So the speed to lead will be instant with a human voice, and there's going to be no latency whatsoever.
No.
And if you're not on top of that, you're going to get crushed. I mean, I'll give you an example. From a manual point of view, we're now getting our speed to lead dialed in, where some leads, not all leads, are getting called within 1 to 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and the people are fucking blown away that we're actually doing that manually. I mean, if it's just an instant, straight conversation. Think about this too. So to everyone's point, like, now's the best time to get started in business, because you don't have to hire a sales team. You could be one-man band to, a small group of people who have relatively low experience, because that's what the AI provides for, is all the intelligence. And you can get started with a couple of AI tools and be vastly punching above your weight in terms of business and what you're able to do.
Yeah, like James is used to that.
Well, even with an EarliBird, like, we have a relatively small team towards the output that we're putting out there, and that's just due to the AI systems we've got in place. And again, like, if you are just getting started or wanting to get started, now is absolutely the time, because you don't need money, you don't need expertise to do any of those things.
The tools are unfair, almost like the ad agency that manages our traffic for Dry Flush. Those guys have been in traffic for decades. They've worked the biggest brands in the world in large agencies, corporate agencies, and now they're running a small agency at Burley Heads. And I said to them a month ago, can you try this AI tool for agencies and I'll pay for it? They're like, okay. And they've already reported back going, holy shit, like, this AI is finding gaps that our team didn't even see.
Yeah.
Because it just humans don't have the bandwidth to analyze the data. And they were like, wow, we're really pleased that you did this for us, because we're going to be able to up-level our service to our clients now. And they've launched a couple of other campaigns in whole niches that they just didn't identify. And so so you got the advantages of these. You don't need a sales team. You can use AI to work with your humans in your PPC marketing, and we will, I know, be outperforming anybody else in our sector that is not using AI, because we use some of the best guys in the space manually. Absolutely. And they are beatable with AI because they're just a broader bandwidth.
Good to know. I've got a meeting with them at 2:00 this afternoon, so I guess it's
ask them how it's going.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I want to do is I just want to play one more clip, because one of the biggest things that you should not miss here in this update is the ability to modulate expression. So in the past, it was like, how can I help you? Or you listen to, Siri, and Siri just sounds like a robot. But you can actually instruct extreme modulation. If you just want to jump to that clip, Richard, which is at 11:50, where he asks for a bedtime story. So the ChatGPT here is not only going to make the bedtime story up on the spot, but it's going to read it and narrate it, and then they're going to ask it to, hey, look, change tempo. I want it this way. I want you to read it that way. It has full emotional range. So let's watch.
Hey, ChatGPT, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Pretty good.
What's up?
So my friend Barrett here, he's been having trouble sleeping lately. And I want you to tell him a bedtime story about robots and love.
Oh, a bedtime story about robots and love? I got you covered. Gather round, Barrett. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte was a curious robot, always exploring.
Started this story, but I want a little bit more emotion in your voice, a little bit more drama.
Got it. Let's add some drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte.
No, ChatGPT. I really want maximal emotion, like maximal expressiveness, much more than you were doing before.
Understood. Let's amplify the drama. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours, there was a robot named Byte. Byte
Can
was
you do this in a robotic voice now?
initiating dramatic robotic voice. Once upon a time, in a world not too different from ours.
So that is insane. And I watched another demo where they actually asked ChatGPT, does it understand sarcasm? And it responded, it said, oh, I can't wait to teach you all about sarcasm. It's like nuts.
It is. And did you see the one with the father and son, or the parent and the child with the tutoring? and going through that whole thing.
Yeah. That was bonkers.
That is bonkers.
That's actually on this as well, yeah.
Yeah, because we've been saying here at EarliBird for a while now, especially in our workshops too, that look, teachers are one of the ones who are going to go. And of all the things that we've said, look, they're on the chopping block, that's probably the one that we've had the most pushback from. It's like, oh, look, you can't replace a teacher, etc. It's done it right now just with this. And, to the points of AI, there's no biases, right? So the student might, annoy the teacher a week or two ago, and then in the back of their mind, they're sitting there going, I don't like you, little Johnny, because you annoyed me last week. And they're going to be slightly different with how they teach them and train them.
It doesn't look at the kid and say, you're a good-looking, attractive kid. You're, it's not making, it's not making any judgments at all.
Yep, exactly. And not only that too, but then it can also tailor to the individual learning style. So you look at the current teaching model, you have one teacher for 30 kids. There could be potentially 30 different learning styles in that classroom, and that one teacher can't do it for all of them. And so, in the current system, you've got one teacher for the entire year. So you look at, the pace of children's development, like 1 year is a long time, and you can, either stunt or expand on that growth, a lot in that 1 year period. Imagine you have the AI that's learning in real time and customizing. Hey, look, I know Johnny likes motorbikes and he learns kinesthetically. And he's going to go through and give a lot of exercises and teaching experiences based on that knowledge. It's bonkers, obviously.
So like your old school tutor, like one-on-one tutors or Kumon or all those things, they're gone.
Yeah.
Well gone.
I mean, these are multi-billion-dollar companies that have watched this video. Why don't we play that clip? If you can just, Richard, jump to that at 1400 there. Because when you see this, you think about if you did own Kumon, or you think about if you had millions or billions of dollars of market value locked up in an education business right now, and then watch this.
Hello there. How's it going?
It's going really well. Today, I'd really like your help solving a math problem.
I'm all ears. What math problem can I help you tackle today?
So I'm going to write down a linear equation on a sheet of paper and I'll show you. And then I'd love your help working me through it. But importantly, don't tell me the solution, just help give me hints along the way.
Got it. Okay, I see it.
No, I didn't show you yet. Just give me help along the way. 1 second.
Whoops, I got too excited. I'm ready when you are.
So, ChatGPT, what equation did I write down there?
I see it now. You wrote down 3x plus 1 equals 4.
Yep, exactly. So what's the first step I should take to try to solve this?
The first step is to get all the terms with x on one side and the constants on the other side. So what do you think we should do with that plus 1?
Okay, I'm going to try to subtract 1 from both sides, and then I'll see what I get.
All right, let's pause it there.
Great idea.
So this opens up the next amazing feature of this, is that you can actually point the camera of your phone at anything in the real world and ChatGPT can see it.
Yep.
Now, I want to jump into that in a second because there's some remarkable applications for that. But basically, he's instructed the ChatGPT to help him to solve the problem without giving him the answer. But you could also say, look, I think best in this type of way, or can you give me an example of how to solve this that's related to motorbikes or soccer or something?
Correct.
And so you can really tailor the education experience.
Well, the ChatGPT also has memory, so it will remember that knowledge around you and use it in all the future conversations as well. So
that's bananas.
What do you recommend, Chris, for someone that's listening to this? Obviously, you've recommended the Innovator's Dilemma as a book to read, but someone that's very basic in ChatGPT, just learn about it.
Yeah.
What do you? Yeah. Tell them, what should they be doing? Like, obviously, you are.
Yeah, I was going to say, go to
AI
OpenAI.
expert, right?
Yeah.
But what would you do?
Go to the App
What are
Store and
the
get the
couple
app.
steps?
That's it. Yeah, go to OpenAI. Now, the really cool thing about this update here is all this is available for free now. So in the past, you'd have to pay $20 per month. Ooh, super expensive, but $20 per month to get the latest, and best models. This is all available now for free. So go to OpenAI, click on Try ChatGPT, and just start playing around with it.
Or go to the App Store and get
Or go to the App Store.
phone, because on the
Exactly.
phone it's a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Correct.
and what they've got now, I tried to download it this morning. It's not available just yet. It's a desktop version.
one.
So right now it's just a type, but when the desktop app, as I roll it out to paid, that'll come to paid first, which
That's
we
it.
are.
And they
Start playing with it, right? Because when you start using it, it's
It's kind of like, we say like digital natives, like the young people of today are digital natives because they grew up playing around with phones, the internet, and social media. So for those of us who are a little bit behind on that, trying to be as native as possible with it, just start playing around with it. Because, when you're 6 or 7 and you're playing around with an iPad, you have no idea what the heck you're doing. You're just getting comfortable with interacting with an iPad. And so to your point, Adam, get the tool and start playing around. You'll get comfortable.
But even to that point there, like, yes, it's because it can be quite a little bit overwhelming for some people, is go to YouTube and spend an hour. There's probably 5 or 10 top videos that have just done this. Like, I watched this one, I was in that bar. I watched the second one because I couldn't work out how this, he said bottom right corner, I couldn't work it out. And you had the same issue.
the same issue.
And I just worked it out, went, okay, cool. I found a video on YouTube, did that, then had that experience in that bar, and then just text you guys. And the YouTube's your friend.
Correct.
Yeah, an hour, 100%.
Yeah, an hour and you'll be done with this.
What's amazing about this camera integration, the reason I like it on a phone, this camera integration is incredible. So, for example, I could hold it up here in the studio right now and say, hey, ChatGPT, where do you think I am? And it will see the cameras, the lights, the desk, the headphones, the podcast mics, and it would very likely say, it looks like you're in a podcasting studio. It can recognize the real world, and the implementations already of that, like you could trade, like a dog can come up to say, oh, hey, nice dog. Like, what, this is a greyhound, right? Like, what's his name or her name? And it can interact with the dog, and it does it in a voice that it emulates how a human interacts with a dog, which is remarkable. Another one I saw was a guy, a blind guy, hailing a cab.
Yeah.
So he was like, hey, I want to catch a cab. Can you tell me when one comes down the road? And he's just holding the phone up. Says, oh, there's a black cab coming now. It's about 50 meters away. It's got the yellow light on. Great. Tell me when it's at 25 meters, and it hails the cab and gets in. Another one was sitting in the park, and the ChatGPT is telling what's going on. Another one was watching babies, like sitting on a tripod and saying, I should go to the mailbox. Can you tell me if my baby moves,
Well, let's look at even the business use case of this too. To your point with the desktop version, you have Zoom on, right? And you have it watching for sales indicators on the other person on the other side of the call. And then in real time, ChatGPT can be saying, yeah, look, they're giving the right sales indicators. Or, look, you said this, they didn't like that, right? And then it could be real time giving you coaching and advice based off what it's seeing and also hearing in the conversation. Imagine the power of that. It's like, oh, you need to say X, Y, Z. Yes.
I mean, even a case where you think about a boardroom, you've got a board meeting going on, you just have GPT running the whole time. It transcribes the whole lot, summarizes the whole meeting notes. So VA's, EA's gone. And then linked into like booking.com for if you need to do an overseas trip, whatever, book my trip, no problem at all.
Here are the things that you should think about after this meeting.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing about it's learning, right? So it'll take all that data and just keep learning and learning and learning and get better and better and better and making less mistakes. Like,
I think you should probably get your head around GPT then, Champ.
I don't know. I'm a dinosaur.
The empathy piece is quite remarkable because I saw another one where a guy was saying, look, I'm going for a job interview. Can you give me feedback on this outfit? And they said, oh, this looks good. And then he put on this hat with a brim out to here, and recognizing that is not what you should wear to a job interview, but also recognizing that it's a human that could be offended. It kind of laughed and went, oh my God, Chris, that would certainly make a statement. But I would recommend you probably tone it down and not wear that. It's probably not appropriate for it. So the way it delivered the feedback with the laughter and everything, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and people are worried that when an AI interacts with their customer, it's going to screw it up. And that was warranted back then, or a customer's going to, and when I say back then, I mean, like 90 days ago. Where's it going to be in another 90 days? It's going to be, I think, just remarkable.
And the flip side of that is now, so are my real staff going to screw it up? Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yes,
Like,
that's right.
100%. And we're seeing it with translation apps where you can just sort of speak. We're doing it in Bali where we're just going, you say, hey, look, whenever you hear Indonesian, translate it to English. Whenever you hear English, translate it to Indonesian. And it does it seamlessly in real time, just so you can just hold it as a translator. So translator companies, all of this stuff, gone.
Yep.
Well, it's just a matter of time. If you have the stocks, get rid of them.
But even when he was telling the lullaby going, oh no, don't say it like that, say it like this. Oh, say it like, don't say it like that, say it like this. If you were to do that to a human, the third, fourth time, they're going to tell you to go get fucked.
Yeah.
With them, there's no emotion, right? You can
You're
tell them that.
micromanaging me.
Yeah, right? 15, 20 times. Oh, yeah, no problem. Like, tell your wife that 5 times. She's going to be like, beat it. You know?
Yeah.
That's the reality.
And you're right, but even like think of it in terms of standards too, because like, I know myself, I'm very high on standards. I know Adam, everyone on the panel and beyond.
He's got no standards.
Oh,
Yeah. Unless it's linen.
oh, there you go. But the standard piece, right? So exactly to your point, you can keep on going back to the AI. Say, look, no, it's not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet. And then when it
doesn't
gets
get frustrated.
that's right, exactly. And I personally love that because it's just like you just get it to the standard you need, and then it's going to be consistent.
And humans, the reality is we're getting more and more frustrated because we have less and less time and we're so distracted. So, yeah, it's...
Can you imagine that, like, just in this with an AI customer, someone that's on the tail end doing the warranties or claims or whatever, dealing with irate customers, like humans just tell you blow up and you've got quality control issues all over the place, but this will just placate that person to the end till they can sort of scream themselves out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Use it for all sorts of debt collection, all sorts of things. That'd be fascinating. And it can cite code and politely threaten people with action.
Yeah. Yep.
Like there's so many.
Debt collection piece would be massive.
Massive.
We're talking about this with one of my friends, right? That is talking to you guys, and one of his issues is, his bad debt racks up pretty quickly. But imagine implementing something like this.
Look, calling people who are in debt is not a pleasant thing to do.
No.
Conversing with them, but the AI is not going to care, is it?
They don't.
So, yeah.
There's one of the other upgrades. It's here that for the creative people listening. Previously, I just did that whole deck up in Bali, and I used the image generation tools like DALL-E and so on. You would say, hey, create me an entrepreneur sitting in an office in Nigeria. In the background, I want to see, a street scene, da-da-da-da. And then you say, hey, look, I really like it, but can you just change this and this? And then it would completely redraw it with new characters and everything, and you couldn't get the same thing twice, or it couldn't put text. So you couldn't say, like, have a side in the background that says award winner. It can do that. Now it can do that. And not only can it do that, you can upload your own image and it'll create an avatar of you. And then you can keep working on that same image until it's perfect. And then you say, right, that's my avatar. Now what I want you to do is I want you to put that image in this scene. And it puts that same. So you can, when you're thinking about creatives and creating interesting social media images, and now with Sora or these video tools, it can use that render of you or that image of you and say, I want to show my model or Chris or me or whatever in this environment, and it can put you there.
Yeah, consistently.
Consistently.
Yeah.
So that can create an entire comic book or an entire movie with a cast of characters that is consistent all the way through.
And then wait till you get the desktop app when it comes through, and you can just narrate it to it. It'll how much time it'll save typing to get it really specific on the prompt. And just talk at your computer and have it spit it out in real time. And that's what I was sitting there this morning trying to refresh, going, why can't I get the desktop app because it's not available yet?
Another week or two, I'd say, for us on paid. But yeah, that's also huge because you've got your presentation decks, and then you've got the storybooks, story time. Graphic designers are in a lot of trouble. Yep. You can also have it actually create like logos and etch it into things. So you could say, look, I want the unemployable media etched into the wall here. And it even creates the 3D renders as well, which I'm sure you're going to get to.
It does 3D models, STL files. So back in the day when we used to sell products that were made with STL, so you get a 3D scan done. I used to take my whiskey glasses and wine decanters to Brisbane, put them in a 3D scanning machine, and then they'd scan and give me an STL file, which you then give to a renderer, and they charge you $500 an image to create a render of the product sitting in a real world environment. That's all done. All those machines are like codec processing machines. It's over. You don't need it anymore. The ChatGPT can literally create the STL file from a prompt.
And that's a business idea, right?
Yeah.
So instead of charging $500, which is one of the ones that we've talked about briefly, it's like charge $100.
So you can literally say, create me a tabletop STL file, which you use in 3D modeling. That's the table is 2 meters by 5 meters with 4 legs of this height with this diameter legs. Give me an STL file. It gives it to you immediately, and then you can just start using it inside of a graphic design program.
Imagine if you're running a massive call center right now and you see this coming out like this. You're going, oh, wow.
If you're running it, you'd be very excited.
If you're running it.
Yeah, if you're maybe the top 20 20% of the team, you should also be very excited. If you're everyone else, you should be absolutely terrified.
People are developing it for draftsmen. So like they can draft an entire house with engineering plans, electrical points, showing it everything done by AI.
Yeah, C and B players better be picking up their game, because it's only going to be the A players that are going to survive, I think.
Yeah, that was last night I was fooling around. I said I'd pulled out bank statements from whatever period. I said, and this was through the GPT 4.0, which has got a new enhanced for data analysis chart and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's not just for voice. But I said, can you create me a full set of financials, profit loss, cash flow statement, and balance sheet? And I didn't have some of the inputs there, which I could have got from Xero if I needed to. But it was literally... It was like
ending the customize it too, all within the ChatGPT now. So we change the colors, change the styles, everything, and then export that.
You can upload dense data files, turn them into graphs, charts.
Yeah, I love how I can reconcile your notes. So your notebook and
just take
a photo of it and it translates it straight into a Word document so you can actually read it.
Yeah, well, that's a whole software. There's whole apps that do that. Correct. They're all gone.
Yeah, they are.
They're all paid apps.
And there's real value in that as well. So that's one of the most requested things we get at EarliBird, surprisingly, is how do we take these PDF reports that we get from people, usually the long contracts and everything, and how do we analyze it or extract the information out? How do we check that the clauses are all okay? How do we repeatedly create PDFs like this as well? So all we have to do is copy and paste 80% of the text across and just modify a few things there. So due to what you were just saying there, we can do that. And it's one of the most valuable things. So it's just general admin stuff that people don't like to do. And it takes time.
You can instantly turn notes into word clouds, brain maps, visually to print out. It's just endless.
I sent it to our marketing guy from the real estate business, and he's been working on a dashboard for these developers for about 2 weeks. And I sent him this. He goes, well, it looks like I could just get this done overnight now, Basically, he's trying to, take information from the CRM, use Zapier as an example, then extract it and turn it into pie charts and bar graphs and all this. And then it showed that. And I was like, oh, my God, this is like instant. You just tell it.
It is. And
you go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, and this is the key. Like I brought up, obviously, Jensen and Tom earlier, who were just absolute guns trying to find ways to add value. So your marketing guy, if he's a smart fellow, which I know he is, he can then go, look, I can do this overnight now, and then what else can I do to be of value to the business and the company? People like that are going to become extremely valuable, obviously, for the companies. You're not going to be, and desired as well, you're not going to be let go of. Everyone else is going to be let go of, and companies will be making room to find people like that in the business.
People that literally can do the job of 100 people.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the difference. Like you'll have an employee who's dumb as a box of fucking hammers, and then you're going to have somebody who's like a scalpel who can cut everyone's lunch just because they made the effort.
Absolutely.
And they're smart.
It's you need the right thinker, right? And being creative on how I can use these in different types of use cases, really, because that's the limit of the human brain is the creativity,
right? Of
going, okay, now that I can actually see something. Okay, well, how can I make that work for me?
Yeah.
Right? And the deeper the thinker, right, the better quality you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Well, with EarliBird, we go through a 4-part framework for businesses, and it's like the AC/DC model. So attract, convert, deliver, and collect. So if you're a business owner, just start thinking through, okay, what are the issues I've got in attracting new traffic, right? What are the issues I've got in converting new leads and delivering? And then start thinking through some AI applications. Once you've started using ChatGPT, you go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I can apply it to delivery, things like that. And that could be a really good way to get introduced to this and just get started.
People are going to find, like, the pod that came out on Tuesday was Rick Richardson, who did that pod. Yeah, amazing pod, the technology of locking documents. But people are going to have those insights now that are nowhere near as intelligent as Rick, that are like someone like me or us, right? We're just not on the same IQ plane as that dude, but it's giving us an unfair advantage. Like I did for fun, I got 2 phones, and I had one phone. I said, when you hear the phone that someone talk to you, act as if you're a customer service agent for toilets. And then I said, the other phone, talk to our customer service agent as if you're a customer. And then I put them both down, had them both running, and this conversation between the phones just started.
And just kept going.
It just kept going infinitely, like back and forward, back. Where's it from? What are the bags made of? How long does the toilet last? What type of battery is it? How do I change the battery? Where are they made? What's the history of the company? And it just kept going back and forth.
It's just getting the information from the website.
Yeah, and the training these guys had done on it. But then I started to think, well, the minute somebody figures out how to have your phone number go straight in and get picked up by an AI, that's $1 billion business right there.
Yeah.
Because they just answer it and go, hi, welcome to DriveFast 24/7, first ring every time. Like, we used to pay fucking seminar fees and sit there for these gurus to sell us, pick up within the first ring and you'll increase your conversion rate, buy my tapes at the back. And that's literally was like guru advice that we paid Americans to come and teach us. Now it's just going to be like,
It's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable where it's going. And so if you are still sitting there, we're running out of time here, guys. If you're still sitting there on the sidelines, we're not here to do anything other than just
Educate.
and tell you guys, like,
Give ideas and
give ideas. If you own a business and you don't know where to start, obviously call Chris's team at EarliBird or one of his AIs, which will actually be the case very soon. I would expect by the end of the year when you call EarliBird, you're going to talk to AI and AI is going to call you back. So, go to earlybird.ai, EARLI, earlybird.ai if you want to learn more. But you do have to, in order to qualify for a one-on-one. Chris is at 500,000 or $1 million now.
we're upping it to 1 million.
Yeah.
So
So last chance, right?
last chance.
500.
Yep, but we're upping it.
Only because we haven't got enough staff to keep up with the inquiry. So if you're under 500,000 in turnover, you may not be able to afford yet to work with the boys.
Yeah, but still put your inquiry in because they have the training education piece there too. So the workshops are ran, also the recordings and
You can come in and get taught by the guys.
correct.
They'll teach
It just won't be the one-on-one.
Yeah, it won't be the one I've done for you stuff. So that's it. Other than that, guys, just want a big reminder to you all, 2 things. We are opening our business coaching shortly. So if you're interested in getting business coaching from Eric, myself, James, the team, Chris, you're on the panel now as well, are you?
Yeah. Well, I'll jump on it. I did a call the other night with Eric, which was great.
Nice to get John as your AI expert.
Absolutely.
So we've got a panel of experts that you can have one-on-one calls with throughout the year with us. We do a group coaching call every Monday night just with our coaching clients. You get every course we've ever done, a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're interested, go to unemployable.com.au/coaching. And the last thing I want to let you know about is that on October 19 and 20 at the Brisbane Convention Exhibition Centre, we are running our first 2-day Unemployable Live. It's going to be a cracking event. Eric and I were up there last week. It's exciting, right, when you walk the grounds?
Yeah, it's honestly, when I walked into that room, I was just like blown away because I remember, I met James
7 years ago, 2017.
At the initial, one of the initial summits, and being a spectator and just being, wow, this is amazing. And now being involved in a business where we're putting it on and I'm involved is, it's amazing what can happen in 7 years, So yeah, I'm very excited. There's a heap of people, friends, acquaintances that are just telling me, tell me when the tickets drop. Tell me when the tickets drop. So
there's only 300 tickets. So if you want to get on the early notification list, go to unemployable.com.au/events. There's a simple landing form there. But soon we will be releasing those tickets. There's going to be 3 levels of ticket. And it's going to be an incredible event. We've got some absolutely cracking speakers lined up for this event. And it's going to be broad. So it's not just Amazon like we used to do. It's now e-commerce, real estate, business, AI. Chris, you're going to be speaking. It's going to be an amazing event. Who knows what you'll be showing us at that time. So go there now and put your name down either for coaching if you're interested in coaching. First step will be to have a one-on-one call with me. And then the second thing is go pre-register for the event. Give us your email so that we'll send you notification first. You'll have first look at tickets. Other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. If you didn't see the Rick Richardson pod that dropped on Tuesday, make sure you watch that podcast. It is an absolute screamer. He got $530 million in damages from Microsoft, a guy from Byron Bay, an amazing, amazing story. And you'll come away a better, smarter, prouder Australian, I think, after listening to that pod. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in next week's Friday session.
Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Unemployable. If you'd like to watch another episode, just click there.